Hello, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Kiyoshi.
Welcome back, guys. This is Roza, and you are listening to Our Japan.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Rosa? How was your week?
My week was actually full of our topic today.
A lot of
witches. Witches. Taxi.
Takushi, Japanese taxis.
Yes, Japanese taxis. Another wonderful aspect of living in Japan.
Please do tell. Why are Japanese taxis? Why was your week full of Japanese taxis, first of all?
Certain events made going by bus and train not feasible to make it in time. So I had several instances where I had to use the taxi. But another thing that actually happened, well, let's get to it later. First, let's talk about taxis in general, right? I mean, I haven't really used taxis in the States. I'm from California, raised in California.
You're from, and so am I. In California, we are not a taxi culture. We do not use the taxi regularly. Not in Los Angeles, anyway. We're not like New York.
And San Francisco it's more of a trolley.
San Francisco, I believe, they do not. To my knowledge, they don't use taxis as much as they do in New York. They're more of a trolley culture. Yeah.
So
I mean, bus culture.
Honestly, I don't really know that much about taxis outside of Japan. I will say this, though.
What other culture uses taxis as much as... Well, hell, I guess, yeah.
Europe,
East Coast,
I guess,
America. No? Do Europeans use taxis? London, English, I think they use a lot of taxis.
Probably.
But other than that, I think, Japan is a big taxi. Well, the big cities, anyway, is a big taxi culture.
And so, the best thing about Japanese taxis is the automatic door, right? So,
the automatic door.
If you've never ridden in a Japanese taxi, do not try to open the door yourself. You will find yourself in a very awkward position because you're trying to open the door, but then it opens by itself, and then the driver's like, "Hey, don't touch the door. What are you doing?"
Yeah, right. There's like a thing where the driver's looking at you no, don't they're
don't mess with it,
telling you don't touch the thing, it's gonna open. So yeah, it's like a comedy routine.
I think closing the taxi door is probably what gets most on their nerves.
That's the thing. Yeah,
you're gonna break the automatic spring thing.
You're gonna break the robot door, yeah.
But yeah, so the standard taxis, they have the regular cars with normal opening doors. They are automatic, of course.
Yeah.
And lately there's a lot more van-shaped, little van-shaped taxis.
So they're black, right? And they're getting ready for the Tokyo Olympics that happened late, but then they had a whole fleet of black London-esque taxis.
Yes, for all the tourists that didn't come.
Yeah. Oh my God, they ended up not coming. So they just have a big old fleet of new, brand spanking new black London-esque taxis.
But they are actually really, really good. They're very roomy and
very spacious.
Yeah, and you can easily lift your suitcase up into the sitting area instead of having to lug it into the trunk.
I always thought it was the spaciousness was for wheelchair access.
Oh, it
because
could be also.
You're
yeah,
gonna get a whole a lot of disabled people from all over the world coming in.
What was the?
So
what was the word?
I've ridden before I left
Barrier
Japan.
free. Barrier free, that's the word, right?
Barrier free?
Yes.
Okay. Before I left Japan, I was able to ride these taxis, and I was really surprised and pleasantly surprised that it was very spacious. I could stretch my legs, I could raise my hands. I don't know for what reason I would raise my hands in the taxi before though, but the fact that I could do it was very appreciative. I was very appreciative of that leg room and arm room.
Yeah, so and even those taxis have sliding doors, right? But they're also automatic as well.
I don't remember the sliding doors at all. Like you're talking like van sliding doors, right?
Yes, not
The
like
sliding doors.
shoji or fusuma like that you find in a Japanese style room.
Yeah, no, they do not model their taxis after Japanese rooms.
Although that would be kind of cool though. I would love to ride a taxi with sliding doors like that.
Yeah, it would be like wooden like doors with like shoji and be very flimsy. You could probably fall out very easily
I mean, yeah, but you
out
know.
into the Tokyo streets. But all for
They could
aesthetics,
be
yeah, sure, fine.
they could be restricted to like small streets only or something like that.
Not efficient.
Not efficient.
But thankfully, no, they have they are very sturdy. I've
Yes.
ridden in a couple, and I can attest to the sturdiness of Japanese taxis.
One thing that, and this is of course in Japan in general, not just taxis, but like you can lose your things and you're most likely going to get them back.
You mean if you leave it accidentally inside of a taxi?
Yes. If you forget
Yeah,
something in a
I guess.
taxi, which is what happened to me the other day.
Oh wow!
I've lived in Japan for 11 years. I have never forgotten my phone in a taxi until the other day. And let me tell you, it was hell.
Well, how long did you was it gone for?
So I was kind of in a rush and it was raining. And so I got into the taxi, but it wasn't the right company taxi that it needed to be for like
What?
the so I had like a ticket, right? And so it requires it's only applicable for like certain companies, taxi companies. And
That exists? I've not heard this.
yeah, like a like what do you call it? Like a set ticket, like prepaid ticket. That's the word. Prepaid ticket.
Okay, I've not heard that at all.
So
This is
I
news
had,
to me.
I had a prepaid ticket, and you know it was limited to certain companies, and like it was raining, so I didn't really have a chance to like take out the paper and look at it and see if it was the right one before I got in. So I get in, and then I'm like, oh, what's the company? And then it wasn't one of the companies that was on the list. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to use one of the companies that's listed.
The
here.
list.
Yeah, for the voucher, the taxi
So this is
voucher.
like a predetermined. Okay, this is so new to me.
No, like if you buy like a prepaid voucher or something, like there's
I
certain...
get it. I get how it works from the context you're giving me, but I still have not heard this before of like buying a pre-bought ticket with a pre-approved list of certain taxi companies on it. That's super new to me.
Well, yeah, so like major taxi companies are on there, but like this wasn't one of them. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to get off. So I got out of the taxi and I'm waiting for the next taxi, and one comes along and I stop it.
Okay.
And then I happen to look over to the spot where I just got out of the previous taxi, and I see my umbrella cover on the ground. And I was like, I have a bad feeling about this.
Bad omen, huh?
Yeah, I had a feeling of dread that maybe I wasn't holding on to the thing that I was supposed to be holding on to. So I get into the other taxi, and it was the right one this time. And so I say my destination, but then I look for my phone, and I'm like frantically searching my bag and my pockets and like anywhere where the phone could be. It's not there. And
Uh-oh.
I'm just, losing your phone is, it's, I don't know, it might be even worse than losing your wallet. Cause like everything's in there, and like you can't even call anyone, and you can't even do anything, and you just feel so helpless, right? And so I didn't have my phone. I was in the taxi, and the taxi driver was really nice, and he's like, do you want me to call the other taxi company? And so I tried calling from his phone, and they said the taxi's gonna be, the shift ends at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. So he had to wait till the end of his shift?
They're like, we haven't gotten any calls about like a forgotten cell phone. Everyone's gonna come back at 3 a.m. So at the longest, it'll be after that. But then like I had stuff to do the next day, and like that was way too long. We're in the time where like you don't even have a house phone, right? So, long story short, what ended up happening was I got to my job, and we got through again, and we found the taxi that, had my phone. And he was kind enough to bring it to where I was working. And of course I said, because like, I will pay the taxi fare. Could you just please bring it here? And he did. So.
Wait, so the idea for him to bring it to you was your idea?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's cool. But he paid for it.
I paid for it, and
it's nice that he didn't decline. He was nice about it.
And
I mean, it's fair to him, right?
Yeah, so. And it's nice that like your phone is found, in the first place.
I could not imagine that happening in here.
And I've had this happen with like not just my phone, but like things forgotten at like the station counter or something. Like I left my DSLR on a station counter one time, and like it was fine. Came back, no problem. So that's like one of these like, this is nice to be in Japan things.
Oh yeah. Japan's for the most part safe, and if you lose something, you'll get it back.
Most likely. I'd say about 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Yeah, I would say so.
It's not all perfect, but yeah.
There's a high probability of you getting your stuff back, let's say.
A very, very high. I'd say pretty high. Highest in the free world, whatever that is.
But going back to the taxi doors, right? On the flip side, if you're in Japan for too long and you go outside of Japan and you are trying to get into a taxi, you might find yourself standing outside the door waiting for it to open. And the taxi driver is just going to look at you like, what do you expect me to open it? So that might be another embarrassing thing that you experience if you're in Japan too long.
I had a friend who he smashed his finger in one of the automatic doors.
Oh.
He pulled it away, but he pulled it away just like a millisecond too late.
Oh no!
And I think his fingernail turned blue, and all that good stuff happened to him.
Aw.
It seemed very painful. I'm glad it didn't happen to me, but because I was there when it happened. So that's another reason to keep your hands away from the Japanese taxi doors. Is the automatic door doesn't know when your finger is in it or not. That might be a thing they want to fix in the future.
Actually,
like a hand, a
sensor,
like a sensor. There you go. So be careful.
Did you know there is a high-ranking seat in the taxi?
A high-ranking seat in the taxi. It's not the passenger seat.
No.
Oh, so it's behind. No, it would be behind the passenger seat. Am I right?
Behind the driver, actually.
Behind the driver. I was going to say that.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I thought it would be the other side, so you can see each other. You know what I mean? If you were behind the driver, you can't. If you turn your head, you can't really see the person. But if you're on the other side, you could turn around and you can see the driver as well.
So I don't think it's really applicable if you're just in the taxi by yourself, because you don't really need to be giving yourself the high seat.
The high seat.
What when it comes into play is like when you're with someone, right? Like 2 or 3 people. So then you have the highest ranking person go in first, and so behind the driver's seat will be the location. But you know what? I'm gonna confirm this. But before I confirm this, I'm just gonna say I believe it's because it's the furthest spot from the door, which is always like the basis for like the high status location position.
The farthest from the what door? Which door?
Well, the one that opens.
Oh, that's right. Okay, the only door that does automatically open is the one closest to the curb.
That's right.
Which tends to be okay.
So, and
okay, I get you.
You never really use the other door.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I never really thought about it, but no.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone ever use the other door, actually.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, I have not either. The only doors that open are the ones that are closest to the curb.
That's right.
Because of course, those would be the doors that would open.
Because it's logical.
Does that mean the other doors don't open?
No, I think they open, but like
they
can be opened. I think it's just they're definitely not automatic.
They're not really.
No.
All the doors would be automatic.
No, only that one door.
I guess the driver's seat does not need to be.
No, only the one door is automatic.
Not the passenger seat.
Nope.
Okay.
So
you would know.
I believe the lowest position is the passenger seat.
The lowest.
Let me confirm. I mean, if all the other seats are full in that case.
I have not heard.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so it's actually interesting. So the highest ranking is, furthest from the opening door. Then the second one is at the opening door. Third one is in the middle.
Okay.
And then the fourth is the passenger seat.
Okay.
So likely the first one has to do, of course, with the distance of the opening door, right? So in general,
I can see that. Yeah.
If you are wondering about the kamiza and geza of like rooms, like the high status and low status, like where's the high position, low position in a room, the basic, it's based on the distance from the entrance of the room. So the area farthest from the entrance of the room is generally considered to be the high position in the room.
And is this dating back to like feudal times or something, or?
Probably.
As far as the rooms go, or like
it's
some high status.
Okay, if we're gonna get like really technical, for example, in tea ceremony, that's the general rule, but it also assumes that the tokonoma is also in the position that matches that general rule, and if the tokonoma is not in the area furthest from the entrance, then the highest position is in front of the tokonoma.
And the tokonoma is, for our listeners,
the traditional alcove area in a traditional Japanese room.
An alcove being, for our listeners who don't.
You explain that. Kiyoshi.
I know a lot of Americans don't know what an alcove is. Like a thing in the wall that like a space in the wall that's like carved out for stuff. Am I correct? Yeah, right. It's like an alcove. Yeah, it's like in an American house. There's like that's where you would put like pillows and stuff, and there would be like a window or whatever.
Pillows.
I don't know. There's a space, and it like juts out, and then there's like a window, and then you would put pillows. Then you would sit there and like drink tea and like watch the fireplace or whatever. Right? Am I crazy? I think
cannot.
I'm nuts.
Imagine the alcove you're describing with fireplaces and windows. Like I've never seen anything like that.
Japanese alcoves are a very different thing.
Yes. So I mean,
it's just like a groove in a wall. Kind of.
It's usually the size of one tatami mat. Traditionally, Japanese room sizes are measured by the number of tatami mats. And tatami mats are the traditional, what is it? Igusa? Igusa, なんていうの?
It's made out of like straw, right?
Yeah, like, just look it up. Just look up tatami. Like, I'm not going to explain tatami.
Tatami mat. Tatami is about how big in inches? Do you know?
No, I don't know inches. Don't make me think about
meters.
Inches.
I don't want to say meters. What is it? Centimeters? In Japanese, they use centimeters, right?
Yeah, centimeters. But
they use the metric, or we use the metric system.
God, you're really.
I'm trying to make this accessible for American listeners. So you have to use inches. It looks like it's about how do you explain it? It's about the size of a small desk.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Fine. Let's go with small desk.
Apparently it's 173 centimeters ish for
Okay.
Yeah, for one tatami.
Wait, 173? Really?
Well, but then you have different sizes of tatami for Edo tatami or Kyoto tatami, or like there's different sizes.
I thought there was one. There's a standard though, isn't
No.
there? There's like a standard tatami size.
Depends which part of the country
There's
you're
got to be I get that, but they usually go by like, okay, this room is this many tatami mats.
Yes.
And they don't go like, oh, it depends if you're like, this is the Osaka tatami.
But that like it differs from like Tokyo versus Kyoto.
Fine.
It's totally different. Seriously.
All right. I believe you.
So it's about 176 centimeters for Tokyo, apparently.
Tokyo.
191 for Kyoto. And I'm just...
Oh, wow. That's a big difference, actually.
Yeah. And I'm just going to skip
We're
the
talking
rest.
about Tokyo taxis right now, so...
Okay.
We're talking about Tokyo, Tokonomas,
We
or
are
whatever.
so off topic.
I use the S again. Way off topic. Anyway,
the issue of high position versus low position as a rule, you just want to think about furthest location from the door. So for most instances, that should be the correct answer, unless you're in a tea room where you have to put other things into consideration.
Back to tea rooms again. We're on taxis,
yes,
man.
Taxis. They both start with T, so.
Taxis. The downside to a taxi, they are a little pricey, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what to compare it with. Like,
I guess so. Like, when you get in, it starts at, how much is it? Like, right when you get in, it's like a...
Well, now in Tokyo...
1000 yen or something
No,
like that?
no. So in Tokyo now, it's the starting price has gotten lower, so 420 yen.
Right when you sit down, okay.
Yeah, and then
420.
For short distances, it's good. Once you get over 2 kilometers,
420 being about, now that the exchange rate is very low, so it'd be like $4 or maybe a little under
350. Yeah,
something like
so
that.
that's
yeah.
pretty cheap, and there's no chip. There's no chip. There's no tip.
There's no chip.
Yes, another katakana word.
No, they do not give you chips in Japanese taxis. Although it'd be really great if they did.
Yeah, so there's no tip.
So then you don't have to pay tip.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not a thing. Don't try to pay tip in Japan. I mean,
do not try to tip anywhere, let alone taxis.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's too bad, but I don't really know what to compare it to.
Yeah, I just remember it being a little, like, if you traveled kind of a farther distance. I mean, obviously, in any taxi, if you travel far, it's going to be expensive. But I just remember, like, the price going up relatively quickly over, like, short distances.
Yeah. It does go up
right?
a bit quickly. I like it for short distances. It makes things a lot more convenient. I don't really I don't really take taxis for like longer distances much, unless there's like special circumstances or something.
I remember navigating, telling a taxi driver where to go in Japan, or Tokyo at least, for me was very confusing. Because like street names are almost non-existent.
Oh yeah.
So you have to be like, I want to go to the place near the Denny's that's near the pachinko place, and it's like, oh god. So I just ended up telling them, just go to this station. That's like the easiest thing to say.
Well,
that they would understand
nowadays.
But they know the back streets.
Yeah.
They know every street in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So they're knowledgeable.
Like nowadays, it's really easy to either use like a Navi on your phone,
That's
or
right, yeah.
if you show them the address, they can just input it into their Navi, and
then
you're okay.
Yeah. back during the times I'm remembering, Navi and like phones weren't like as widely used as they are now. And this is like maybe 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it must be much better now.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, the taxis are safe, they're clean, they are trackable.
The drivers for the most part are a friendly bunch.
Pretty good, yeah.
I don't think I've ever met an ornery taxi driver in Japan.
I have a...
I did, however, I kind of made friends with one taxi driver.
Oh.
It was a female, a woman taxi driver, actually. You don't see a lot of those. Mote mote dayo. No, we just got along, and I got her like line information via application line. I know, and we didn't really keep in contact.
Oh.
But I wrote to her a couple times. It was a nice experience to make friends with a taxi driver. Yeah. So I think they are pretty friendly, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had
for the most part.
I've definitely had a few that, you know, like I really enjoyed talking to, and I've had a couple that I was like, I wish I got on a different taxi, but overall, no big deal.
You might get an overly chatty one, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Could be, yeah.
I like the aesthetic of like old school taxis with like the doilies on the seats.
The what?
The lace.
Oh.
The lace doilies, the doily type.
Yeah.
Backings on the over the chairs.
Yeah, you don't see very many of those these days.
Really? Did they like cycle out all of them? And everything's like those big black taxis.
There's a lot fewer. Is that correct? There's what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that's the correct.
Sometimes, you know, you're here too long, and then you're like, "Am I speaking correct English?"
Oh yeah, you forget English.
Your mind gets scrambled.
You forget English a lot.
You still see quite a bit of those in like Kyoto or, you know, outside of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But Tokyo,
definitely
there's a lot. The newer ones are much more common.
Okay, but yeah, I still like. And you'll be comfortable in any taxi you get into.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whether it be the old school style or the new school style.
Pretty much. And, you know, like, they'll always help you, even with the old school style, like, they'll always help you put the luggage into the trunk. And
that's a given.
Yeah.
They'll definitely automatically get out of the taxi and help you with your luggage if they see it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a pretty pleasant experience.
Overall pleasant,
yeah.
I would say. Are there any like huge downsides?
Huge downsides?
Big, gigantic downsides to using a taxi other than price? No, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
They're knowledgeable. They're clean. They're definitely going to be always clean. You'll get your lost items back.
Yeah, I don't see any downsides.
There are very many. You will never have a hard time finding a taxi in Tokyo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're everywhere.
Oh, okay. I have one complaint, and it's not really a downside. It's more of like an annoyance, I guess. The taxi has like, you know, it says in red when it's a vacant taxi, right? There's a red light thing, vacant car. In Japanese and mostly English also, like the new ones at least, especially, they have both languages. But, you know, it's kind of irrelevant because at the distance they're coming from, you can't read what it says. So you're kind of like stuck with just looking at the light, right? The problem is the other lights are also very close to the red. So yellow is like service out of service.
Okay.
So like I'm on my way back is yellow. And I'm on my way to pick someone up is orange. So that's
really close.
Yeah. And like I really find myself oftentimes in this situation, which to me is very embarrassing, but like I raise my hand to stop the taxi because it looks red, but then it gets closer and I see that it's actually orange or it's actually yellow.
Certain angles, yeah.
And I'm like, I wish they would use like purple or
different hues, man.
green or
use an entirely different color.
yeah.
Not something that's on the same spectrum of the color wheel.
Exactly. That's my only complaint about the taxis.
That's a very small complaint, if you were to have a complaint. Yeah, I can't really think of anything really horrible. I'm sure, if anybody has any bad experiences with taxis in Japan, please write us to let us know.
Oh, yeah. I would like to see, I mean, if there are some horror stories about taxis.
Like, we don't wish this upon you.
No.
If you do have those stories,
any,
please write in.
Let us know.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I have to say about that.
So taxis in Tokyo, good.
Good overall.
I'm sure they are overall. I think they're pretty good. Have you ridden taxis in other parts of Japan, like in countrysides or?
Yeah, the more out in the country you get, sometimes it's harder to get a taxi, and they're not at the station, or so you have to keep that in mind.
That's right. I did go like to an inaka or a countryside once, or really sparsely, really with nobody. There was nobody around. It was like a small town, and like one taxi at the station. And if that taxi's gone, you got to sit there and wait for a very long time. Luckily, when I went there was a taxi waiting. So, but Jesus.
And most taxis in Tokyo will accept credit cards and like different payment forms at this point.
Credit cards, Suica cards, and
just PayPay, like a whole bunch of payment methods. But if you go to Kyoto, for example, there's still a decent amount of taxis that will only accept cash. It's getting better.
Really?
But it's a lot better than it used to be. Like, it used to be taxis and just stores in general, like, don't even think about using your credit card.
Oh yeah, cash
based.
Cash only, yeah.
But now it's a lot more places accept credit card or like IC card, Suica, PayPay, Line Pay, all those things. But there's still quite a few places that only accept cash. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Always keep that in mind. Japan has always been kind of they favor cash over digital payment, but it's changing.
Especially outside of the city. Be prepared to pay cash.
Countryside. Well, I think that's all we have to say about taxis.
I would agree. I have no more taxi talk in me. That rhymed.
You are a genius. You're a rapping genius.
Oh, thank you, Kiyoshi. That means a lot from you. But I hope our listeners have enjoyed our taxi talk.
I hope they got a lot of useful information.
That's right.
About traveling throughout Tokyo.
And
at least this one aspect.
And I'll try to find some more non-katakana topics to include in future episodes.
It's been a lot of katakana. We talked about toilets, which is a katakana word, and konbini.
Konbini, toilet.
Which taxi. Is another katakana word.
But anyway.
And now taxis.
Keep on listening and subscribe and shoot us some comments, ratings, whatever.
Yes, please rate and subscribe, and please write to us at ourjapanpodcast@gmail.com with all comments and stories and questions. If you like something, please tell us in the comment section. If you dislike something, please tell us. We take any and all comments. Other than that, we will talk to you next time.
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.